University student Sharon Otieno. Now, obviously, this case brings up a lot of questions, especially on issues governance. And in regards to this, I'm joined in studio by Kevin Osido, who's the Executive Director of the County Governance Watch. Thank you so much for making time.
Shukran.
And welcome to Bottom Line Africa.
Asante. Thank you very much.
Perhaps let's start on this particular question that we are asking our viewers back at home. Do you think it would be right, according to principle, if Governor Okoth Obado actually stepped down due to the gravity of this particular case? It's a capital offense that he's facing.
I would confidently say yes. The governor needs to step aside and allow for investigations to take course. And you're already asking me silently why. It is because one of the nature of the offense that the governor has been charged with, and two, you note that this is someone who's the nature of his office is not an office that would really want to play games with. And this is because this is an elected leader. People entrusted him as per our constitution, and that is a transferred sovereignty that people expected the governor to be able to go and discharge certain functions as prescribed in the constitution, and also by entrusted spirit of the people by election. The third thing is because we have institutions and we have legal frameworks that are supposed to speak in the silence of this kind of events, especially given the kind and the nature of the offenses or the charges that have been levied against the governor. And so if we were to look at what really the expectations of the people are, and of course this is Kenya, and sometimes people will tell you, no, he doesn't need to step aside, doesn't need to resign. But I think I would stand on the side of the constitution that was promulgated by the highest population of this country. The citizens expected certain bare minimums, and those bare minimums have already been set right in the constitution. So I think that the governor, even looking at his own moral authority, moral standing, the nature of crimes committed and that are already being put before him, I think it would do a majority of us so that he exercises the excellenciness of His Excellency Governor Okoth Obado, that he finds it fair and fit to step aside and allow for the nature of the law to take its course.
Okay. Now, Kevin, even as we continue mentioning the gravity of this case, we cannot forget the presumption of innocence.
Of
he's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
What would you tell critics who are perhaps listening to you right now, saying that it would be right for him to step down, yet he's still innocent until proven guilty?
You see, the nature of this is that there's a process, and we're talking about presumption. Yeah? If I would, I don't want to talk linguistics here, but there are also both sides of the coin to presumption, And the governor, or the nature of this, is because you have someone who's been taken through the institutions, DCI, ODPP, prosecution, and his written statements. A bit of the issues that have been presented are things which he has already accepted, and in fact, given his side of the story, which then gives some bit of, positivity or negativity to the nature of the charges that have already been levied before the governor. Now, if we were to move this further, and it is to look at what is the lose or gain of this? Remember that, and I really have to at this point also send my sincere condolences to the family of Sharon. And if you look at the kind of expectations that people have, this is a governor. If the governor is going to be in jail for 2 weeks, 6 months, of course we have institutional frameworks that determine what is to happen. I don't think the governor wants to wait until that happens, because then it will bring in the political aspect of this, which I don't think I want to get into, because already even at the court you see people already demonstrating no Obado, no elections, no Obado, no Migori. And it's because people have feelings. Ceteris paribus, all the other things that have taken place, including him being, sentenced in the court of public opinion via social media. But I think this also brings into test the test that we therefore expect our institutions to be able to guarantee. And one thing, Jesse, is it's also surprising that Mheshimiwa's case has been picked up by the same institutions that we are talking about against all the other cases that we have seen against other governors and or other people who are not necessarily holding this kind of senior positions within our society. But the manner in which the same institutions take them up, and we can mention 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 76 plus of these kind of cases. We don't see institutions coming with the kind of spirit, vigor and zeal that we are seeing them moving on to be able to discharge this case, which then presents the aspect of, can we be able to test these institutions using this case and ensure that timeliness of discharge, timeliness of dispensing this case really present what needs to happen when people who hold very senior positions in the society are meddled with this kind of affairs. So I think for me it's about the governor's moral authority in his own perspective, wherever he is, both during the day and even at the night when he is having his own solitude, that space to talk through yourself. The second issue is the people of Migori. The third issue is, do we have checks and balances of governors within the Council of Governors, where other governors can send him messages on their WhatsApp group and say, Mheshimiwa, we think you just need to give it a space, or Mheshimiwa, we think, no, stay on and allow that presumption of innocence clause to be able to be discharged. But I think for me, this is it is not a small thing, really, if you want to bring in aspects of ethics and governance. But I think it will also set a precedent in the manner in which we discharge other cases which may not be, capital offenses like this one, because we have issues to do with corruption. Governors are, misusing, if I could use that word, public funds, and they go to EACC and they walk out, they get bailed. No, we don't see them going through this kind of strenuous exercise like Mheshimiwa Okoth Obado has been taken through.
Well, that's very true. Let me bring your attention to Article 73 under Chapter 6. That's the Leadership and Integrity Act. Correct. It says authority assigned to a state officer is a public trust to be exercised in a manner that is consistent with the purposes and objects of this Constitution. Yeah. So you should demonstrate respect for the people in a way that brings honor to the nation and dignity to the office, in a way that promotes public confidence in the integrity of this particular office. This is something you're highlighting very clearly right now. And you've mentioned other governors as well. Yeah. And we've seen Sospita Ojamong, a sitting governor who was facing economic crime charges, obviously pleaded not guilty and was released on bail. Yeah. What is the missing link?
And that's exactly what we are saying, Jesse, because we are seeing a lot of investment in institutions on this case, as opposed to what we have seen in the past. And I am happy that you're bringing in Article 73. And in that article, you read it together with other supportive legislations, the County Governments Act of 2012, that therefore needs to really present the purpose, functions and roles of the office of the governor. What are they and how do they work together with the county assembly, among others? You're supposed to also bring in issues to do with the Schedule 3, where we have the oaths prescribed, when they are holding the Bible and saying, no, this is what I'm going to do, I so and so help me God. What is God supposed to help you to do? Is it to, siphon public funds? I don't think so. Is it to be able to wear a very heavy coat when these kind of issues are put on your face? I don't think so. And that is why, to me, it is about looking at the sovereignty of the people, which is prescribed in the preamble of our very good constitution, which, of course, people have also shed blood for, Yes. We have Kenyans promulgated and, said this is what the document that we want to be able to guide us. So I think that governors should be able to consider the sovereignty of the people. They should be able to put themselves in the shoes of the people that they represent, and they should also be able, in my view, to look at this as a public entrustment. You are a steward, that the people have given you the opportunity to be able to take care of their resources, and not just that, but also to be able to set a very good example, which is why, to me, in this matter, if I was seated right where the governor is seated, I would honestly say, ladies and gentlemen, let's put the institutions to test. Let's put the Constitution to test. I step aside. It has happened in other jurisdictions, and Kenya is not operating in a vacuum.
Definitely.
Can be tested.
Well, let's just take a look at the developments happening at Milimani Local. Those are live pictures coming to your screen. There is Migori Governor Okoth Obado, who has arrived at Milimani Law Courts awaiting Justice Jesse Lesit. Remember, he's facing the charge of murder in the death of 26-year-old Rongo University student, the late Sharon Otieno. Obviously, the case is set to start any time from now. This particular case will be the bail hearing to determine whether Governor Okoth Obado will be released on bail or not, something we are currently discussing right now. And we'll definitely keep you updated even as the live pictures continue coming your way. Remember, he was held at the Industrial Area Remand Prison yesterday night night awaiting this particular bail hearing. So it will determine whether the governor will spend yet another night in prison or police custody or in remand, or whether he will be allowed to go back and serve the members of Migori County. The Constitution says that the deputy governor is supposed to take over in the absence of the county governor. Now, perhaps this might be leeway for particular governors who are implicated in various crimes. You know, the Constitution says that the deputy governor picks up right after, so there's no particular vacuum. How do you look at this?
You see, even in the manner, the process through which the deputy governor takes over is not to say that now we don't have a governor, I'm taking over, you know. There has to be a process and a procedure. And this then boils down to, you know, the county assembly. They have to begin a discussion around what really happens next. And this is very unique, Jesse, because we haven't had this kind of a situation in our country before. So we're also trying to test our institutions. We're also trying to test the Constitution, but much more fundamentally, I probably want to bring you to this fact that, remember that Migori County is expecting a by-election for the Senate. And that's why initially I said I really do not want to read too much politics into what is happening in Migori, because if we were to look at it that way, because if the governor was any other person, you know, we would not see, as I said earlier on, the amount of investment that we have seen, you know, put into this kind of case. Now, what this therefore means is twofold. One, the people, because we have seen Migori, a number of Migori residents, you know, saying, without our governor, there is no county. So we would still want to look at, even if the deputy governor took over, how would the working relationships be? That is one. Number two is the county assembly. And you note that many of the other co-accused with the governor are people with whom he has worked, you know, within his office, and by extension, the county assembly. So they also begin to look at how will the county assembly take up this, you know, not only the bail that is now that we are about to watch or listen to or witness, but also how do they move on? Will someone move in an impeachment motion and say the governor has been accused, this is happening, so we are proposing an impeachment motion? So it will really depend on how the governor has been working with the county assembly, because on this issue, it is really the county assembly that has an upper hand. And the fourth level is service delivery. The people of Migori voted for their leader, and they are looking forward to services to be delivered. Hence, the reason as to why, in my view, I still believe that they have to find a very amicable way to ensure that services are continued. People want water. They want roads, you know, where they can be able to not only go and get services, but also, you know, take their goods to the market, go to school and all these things. They want agriculture, food security issues to work. They want their, you know, cottage industries in Migori all day from Kisii going to Kuria to be able to, you know, work and ensure that the county government provides that amicable environment. The county government must be seen to be bigger and broader than the individual person of Mheshimiwa Okoth Obado. And this, in my view, as I've also said, really needs to be broken down into not just murder cases, but cases that really are for the public interest, like this one. And there have to be cases that also narrow and boil through issues to do with accountability for resources and issues to do with public interest, you know, because this really is about murder, yes, but as we have already said, you and I and others, we have cases where governors have been charged with, you know, serious crimes like stealing or siphoning or, you know, discharging their functions as in a manner not to portray the spirit and the letter of the Constitution. So I think this will set a precedent, and I am looking forward to seeing how this goes both at the institutional level and also the citizens level. Are we going to, you know, say that, yes, we are saying no Bado, no Migori, no elections, but how does that therefore relate to our expectations as citizens, not just at the level of service delivery, but even in the manner in which we vote our leaders? Because in this country, we have seen people saying, I would rather die than resign. And they have, taken their issues and walked away with them. And the citizens have been left wondering, so is it that there are things that, you know, certain issues or cases that are only spared for the haves and then when it comes to the small fishes, there is a manner in which they are supposed to be discharged. So I think this is going to have quite an interesting ball rolling through, and I am looking forward to seeing how really it will navigate into our governance and ethics issues. Not to mention that issues around Article 10, Chapter 6 of the Constitution were actually watered down when we were doing the 2013 elections. And I don't want to get into the ICC issues, because we had now the top executive of our country were almost in a similar scenario. But then the International Criminal Court, the ICC court, set its precedent and discharged the matter. So how we are able to learn from that issue, bring in the citizens and ensure that, leaders and that leaders abide by what the Constitution says, but that the citizens also look at the kind of people that we vote into office. Because in this country, we haven't seen anyone who says, yes, I have been discharged, I have been charged, I am stepping aside, as is happening in other countries, in Asia, Malaysia, South Africa here. We had a president who actually stepped down, and they are still alive. The country is moving on. What would happen to a county like Migori?
Well, that's very interesting. Even as we continue awaiting the bail hearing of Migori Governor Okoth Obado, let's look at the broader picture right now. On issues of governance, we have seen former governors implicated, even current governors being implicated in issues of economic crimes, siphoning money from the county government and actually making them find their way to their own personal or relatives' accounts. Now, this is an issue even as we talk about governance, because you bring up service delivery. Why are governors in place? To ensure that service delivery is of utmost importance, and the main reason that they're actually there is to benefit the members of that particular county. Is a move by President Uhuru Kenyatta to buffer up the DCI and the DCJ actually a good thing, even as we continue monitoring the developments? There you have it. Justice Jesse Lesit is actually in Milimani Law Courts, and the bail hearing is set to commence right about now. That is the case that is facing Migori Governor Okoth Obado, who is being charged with the gruesome murder of 26-year-old Rongo University student Sharon Otieno, who went missing on the 3rd of September 2018, and her body was found on Wednesday, the 5th of September in Kodera Forest. There you have it, Migori Governor Okoth Obado waiting to find out if he will be released on bail or not. He had spent the night at Industrial Area Remand Prison. Let's just listen in to this particular case.